everyone, it's Lauren Bradley here from The Officials, and I'm here to bring you another video in the series that I'm doing with the fantastic team over at Anderson Hoare. And today, if you saw the title of this video before you clicked on it, you will know that we're talking about follow-up and how not to screw it up. So, as admins and assistants, we can very easily find ourselves in the bad place. And the bad place is that feeling of being overwhelmed, where you feel that you don't have control over your to-do list and the actions and requests that have been put upon you, and you're just kind of reacting. It's very stressful. It's very, you can be very anxious, but you just have this nagging feeling you could be missing something, but all we're doing is reacting to the latest email, the latest request, the latest task. And if you're doing that, you could be missing some really important stuff. And we know it in our gut, and that's what's causing this bad place feeling. And so imagine that your tasks are a big stack of papers, and you're only attacking the ones at the top. Well, someone keeps putting new tasks on top of that pile. And in that stack is tasks that have deadlines and tasks that have follow-on tasks. And if you're not getting control of that pile, then you are missing deadlines and you are missing the steps that you're going to need. You're not realizing that one task, one piece of paper actually could be 10 pieces of paper because it has so much follow-up to it. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about how I attack this and some tips that you can do to get out of the bad place and move forward. Now, there's no judgment here. We all have been there. If we haven't been there, then you are a super angel assistant, or you have a very slow office or working environment. But I don't think I've ever met an assistant or admin that has not had this feeling, or person in general that has not had this feeling at work at some point. So I've got three tips that I use to help make sure this does not happen. Now, first, I want to say, if you did not watch last week's video on email triage, you're going to want to go back and watch it. I'm going to link to it below, but I highly encourage that you go back and watch that, because the very first step here is talking about how to get control of what is coming in. And essentially, it's that video. The video is called email triage, but really it could have been called task triage, as any task comes in to you, whether it's from WhatsApp, Slack, Facebook at work, email, someone coming up to your desk, calling you on the phone. We have all these ways that people are contacting us and making requests. I try and get everything in email. If someone hasn't come to me through email, I'll email myself the task because they've told it to me, or I'll ask them to email me. So at least I'm kind of containing where all this input is coming in from. And then I use the triage system. And just to remind you, if you haven't seen the video or you don't quite remember, it's do it, delete it, delegate it, schedule it. So do it. I say in the video it has to be under 15 minutes, but to be honest, more realistically, it has to be something that you can do right now in 2-3 minutes. If you can't, then it goes into the schedule it category. You do it, delete it, delegate it, or schedule it. And schedule it is the one that's going to be the most important for this particular talk. So use that system as items come in. Can I do it right now? Can I delete it? Can I schedule it? Or can I delegate it? Can I schedule it? And actually get it in your diary. Now, once you do that, you're going to have a much better understanding of that pile of paperwork and how you're going to attack it and when you're going to attack it and who's going to help you, or whether you even really need to attack it. Can you just get rid of it? Is it not relevant anymore? Is it junk mail if it's email? So that's the first step. That's going to help you feel more in control. Now, the second step is when you are doing these tasks, now that you've scheduled everything or you're doing it as it comes in, because it's something you can do in 2-3 minutes, when you've completed that task, I want you to think, and you're ready to move on to something else, I want you to ask yourself, A, B, F, or say to yourself, A, B, F, or if you're cheeky, say A, B, F, U. If you've seen the movie Glengarry Glen Ross and you remember Alec Baldwin's very famous scene where he's shouting at a sales team and he says to them, A, B, C, which meant always be closing. Well, for assistance, we're going to say ABF or ABFU and say always be following up. Before you close off a task and you're about to move on to the next one, think, what is the follow-up? And there is follow-up for almost everything that you do. If you've been asked to book lunch for someone, you've called, you made the reservation, you've got it in their diary. The follow-up is the day before you put in that you're going to call and confirm that reservation with the restaurant. So there is a follow-up. It could be that it's an interview or it's a meeting with a new possible client and you have to help come up with a potential client brief. And so how long do you need before that? Make sure that's in your schedule. So always be thinking about what the follow-up is. If there's no follow-up, fantastic, move on. However, there's usually always some type of follow-up. Tasks are really complex these days. You think it's going to be really simple. You have to fill out an application online. Then you find out you need all this evidence. And to get some of the evidence, you've got to apply for something else so they can send it to you. So one task becomes a cascade of tasks. And so make sure that you are scheduling follow-up for all of those things. So I want to make sure that you are, one, getting control of your inbox or of your tasks and what your to-do list should be looking like, and really feeling confident in control. And two, when you complete a task and you're ready to move on, or at least you're ready to move on to the next task, that you have recorded how you're going to follow up and given yourself reminders. And you're asking yourself, what is the follow-up here for each of these tasks? Now, the third one is following on from scheduling. So as I said, think about where you are with each task and make sure that you know when you're going to follow up with it. If it lands on a specific day, you know that the board meeting is on Wednesday, the agenda has to go out on Monday. On Friday, you need to make sure that you know what everybody wants to have on the agenda. So you've got a few things there that you need to put in your calendar. One tip that I use, and I did talk about this a little bit last week, but I just wanted to go more in detail today, is talking about follow-up Fridays. Now, I utilize follow-up Fridays. Actually, because I've retired Fridays, I use follow-up Thursdays, but it's basically the last day of my week. I try not to take on any new business, no new tasks. Unless it's something that absolutely is urgent, has to be done that day, is time sensitive, then of course I'm going to do it. But if it's something that's a new task that can wait till Monday, it goes on Monday. And as I say it's an application, as I take on a task that has something that needs following up, but it doesn't have a specific day necessarily, I've put an application, they said it takes about 4 weeks, then I will count out 4 Fridays from now, look at the Friday 4 weeks from now, and I will put in an entry to say follow up on this application. If it has a generic sort of timeline, then I'm always putting it in on a Friday. And I make sure that Friday is the day that I clean up all the tasks I've been working on up to this point as best I can. If it cannot be finished at this point, I move it to the next Friday, or if I know it's going to take another 2 weeks, I've gotten some feedback, then I put it in for 2 Fridays from then. And that is how I utilize Follow-Up Fridays. Now for me, I am, as I say in the last video, I make sure that I'm only checking my emails at certain times of the day. So when I come to work on a Friday at 9 a.m., I'm checking my emails, and I give myself from 9 to 10 a.m. to get settled, get control of my inbox, respond to a few things that I can do right then and there. And by 10 o'clock, I am following up. 10 to 12, usually 10 to 1, depending on how much stuff I have going on. If you look at my calendar, there are half an hour entries for all the things I want to be following up on. And by the time I get to the afternoon, then that's a time that I can use for tasks that are more organizational tasks. Maybe it has to do with filing, or it has to do with cleaning up my desktop, making sure that my inbox is cleared out again, that I'm prepping for the following week. And I can maybe take on a task that is a personal a passion project at work. And that's a really great time to do it when you're in a good mood on a Friday. And it's a really great task instead of having to work on something really heavy at the end of the day, at the end of your week. And so that is how I use Follow-Up Friday. So just to recap, how not to screw up your follow-up is, 1, make sure that you have command of your to-do list and the tasks that are coming in and when you're going to attack them. 2, always be following up. ABF. Always be following up. Always ask yourself before you close off a task, what is the follow-up here? And again, if there isn't any, fantastic, but likely there's going to be something. And 3, make sure that you use, that you're scheduling the follow-up and that you're utilizing follow-up Fridays. Now, I have actually made you a few downloadables that I have linked to below that you are welcome to download that will help you remember to ABF, always be following up, and will remind you about the do it, delete it, delegate it, schedule it, triage system. And I want you to download them, make them your background, print them off, put them in your notebook, make it into a tattoo, whatever works for you. But as long as you start to see it enough times that it becomes a habit, that's what we're really looking for here. Now, you know I love talking to you and I love hearing your thoughts. So if this video helped you, please make sure that you like it, you share it, that you comment, that you subscribe. If you have, I'd love to hear your ideas. Is this something that you do? Do you have your own techniques that you use to make sure that you're not dropping the ball at work? And also I'd love to hear what you would like to see in the future in this series or on the Officials YouTube channel. Please put your comments below. I read them, I reply to them, and I love connecting with you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.